This piece of paper turned Mohammed Auda's life upside down. It's an order to demolish his home built without an Israeli permit. He lives here with his parents, wife, and brother's family. He tells me theirs was just one of 13 demolition orders Israeli authorities issued in the area that day.
They told me either you demolish the house or we will come and do it for you.
Mohammed and his family live in East Jerusalem. Israel occupied it in the 1967 war and annexed it in 1980, declaring the whole city its eternal, undivided capital. Most of the international community does not recognize this, and Palestinians claim East Jerusalem as the capital of a future independent state. A majority of Jerusalem's 360,000 Palestinians live here, yet they find getting permits to build homes virtually impossible, according to the UN. It says Israeli authorities zone little land for Palestinian development while facilitating the expansion of Israeli settlements. That's also the experience of Aviv Tatarsky. He's a researcher at Ir Amim, an Israeli nonprofit that focuses on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in Jerusalem.
The permit regime is being controlled by the municipality based on zoning plans that are controlled by the government, and both these bodies are making sure that the zoning plans do not allow enough permits fitting for the size of the population. And when Palestinian communities in Jerusalem initiate zoning plans, most of the times these are blocked, derailed, rejected.
Given this situation, Mohammed did not even apply for a permit. He says he knew he'd never get one. He simply built his house on his land. The penalty for doing that is demolition, which rights groups say Israeli authorities have expanded since the October 7th terror attack.
They don't want a lot of Arabs, they want to reduce us.
That's an accusation that Ari King, a Jerusalem deputy mayor and settler leader, vehemently rejects. To him, the increase in home demolitions is simply about enforcing the law. He insists permits are issued without discrimination against Palestinian residents.
If we wanted really to create an environmental of pushing them out, we would not invest there.
For Palestinian anti-demolition activist Fakhri Abu Diab, none of that investment King mentioned is for his community. Standing in the ruins of his home, he says the Jewish settler community living in his East Jerusalem neighborhood of Silwan has no trouble building, while Israeli authorities demolished his house in February.
They demolished my life, my past. My mother was here. She gave birth to me here. Under this rubble there is a 50-year-old picture of me and my mother. There is nothing that can bring that back.
Aviv Tatarsky's rights group Ir Amim fears this wave of demolitions could spark violence in Jerusalem. He tells me that during Israel's previous wars in Gaza, Israeli authorities often halted demolitions to prevent tensions bubbling over here.
This time we see an opposite policy. We understand that this government sees a conflagration not as a risk, it's an opportunity. It allows it to carry out more and more violent and drastic measures.
He says that's because this time, a far-right nationalist, Itamar Ben-Gvir, is Minister of National Security, in charge of the police force needed to enforce demolitions. To Jerusalem Deputy Mayor Ari King, Mr. Ben-Gvir is doing the right thing.
We are not demolishing enough in East Jerusalem.
As he waits for the bulldozer to come and demolish his home, Mohammed tells me what his plans are.
If they demolish the house, we will pitch a tent and sit here. We will not leave our home.